Welcome to C3S, everyone. I'm your host, Justin Spurs, joined alongside with Jake Cavanah. We've got a handful to talk about this week. This week's episode is a basketball special since we are still in the morning of college basketball season. But the NBA playoffs start this Saturday, and we're locked in for what should be one of the most exciting playoffs we have seen over the past few years. The Western Conference looks like it could be a toss-up, and the Eastern Conference, well, it looks all right. Jake, the Warriors look like they could come out of the West. Are you buying or selling the Warriors?
Coming out of the West, I'm not sure because, you have the San Antonio Spurs, and this team has never done anything in the playoffs. Last year, they were out in the first round of the Clippers, who have also really not done anything in the playoffs. Klay Thompson last night, he can't play like that every single game, and he doesn't really have to. But I just don't see this team coming out of the West. Steve Kerr, first-year coach. It's an experience to be in the playoffs. They're a great team, don't get me wrong, but playoffs, it's a whole different ballgame.
But you got to give credit, to the Warriors, considering
of course.
They get rid of Mark Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Everybody think what are you doing? He takes you to the playoffs. You guys make a deep run in the NBA playoffs. But then you look at a guy like Steph Curry, who stepped up. He's probably going to win Most Valuable Player of the Year. Unless J.R. Smith makes a great point for LeBron.
Co-MVP.
Exactly. But and you also got to think Klay Thompson, he's playing his role right.
He is.
But the most impressive player, I think, for the Warriors so far is Draymond Green. Because he comes in, drafted out of Michigan State. Nobody knows what he's going to be. He's going to be a tweener. He's going to be a guy that could play the 3, maybe the 4. But this guy has developed his post presence. He could play anywhere from the 2 to the 5 position, and I think that's going to be great. That adds a whole other dimension.
But do you think they would be different if Mark Jackson was the coach?
Man. That's tough because Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry, that backcourt is
it's the best in the league by
perfect.
far.
It's best in the league, but it's so perfect for Steve Kerr.
But Jackson was a point guard,
So was Steve Kerr.
So,
Steve Kerr and Sean Elliott, it's kind of identical with, Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson.
We'll see. It's coming up.
Anyways, moving on, sticking with the Western Conference, the San Antonio Spurs are rolling right now, winning 11 in a row and 21 out of the last 24 games. The last time Kawhi Leonard scored single digits was February 23rd. Would you consider the Spurs a title contender, or is this just a fluke?
Contender. San Antonio Spurs, Kawhi Leonard is back full force, and Greg Popovich. He's the best coach in the league. And Timmy D, he's grabbing 9 boards a game. The guy's 60 years old, and he's still one of the best players in the post. I don't see these guys backing down to anybody. I feel like if someone's going to give the Warriors a challenge, it's going to be them.
And, one thing that always surprises me about the Spurs is even when they look like, somewhere in the season that they might fall off, this might be the year that Tim Duncan rides off into the sunset when the Spurs fall off, and then it's going to move over to Kawhi Leonard. But it seems like every year the Spurs age like fine wine. They just continue to get better, and the fact that they're on an 11-game winning streak.
They're getting hot at the perfect time.
And we even talked about this with college basketball season. It doesn't matter what you do in December and January. It matters what you do in late February, early March, and that's exactly what the San Antonio Spurs are doing. They've been hot since early of March, and they're playing all the way until here we are in April. So
and they beat the Thunder, Warriors, Grizzlies, Mavs, then the Thunder again. This 11-game winning streak. It's not just scrub Eastern Conference teams. It's a real competition.
Well, and also they played the Rockets back to back, and they beat them.
Yeah,
and the Rockets, not a pushover team. I think they could actually have a legitimate shot at making the Western Conference Finals. So
they got to stop allowing 118 points.
Yeah, but
we'll see.
We'll see what's playoffs start. So, anyways, the Eastern Conference playoffs. Well, let's just say it's either the Atlanta Hawks or the Cavs or the Washington Generals. However, Derrick Rose returned to the Bulls, and Paul George returned to the Pacers. Jake, now that the Stars are back in uniform in the East, who do you see taking the Eastern Conference?
I hate to say this, but I still feel like it's the Cavs. PG-13 has given the Pacers a spark. But last year, Lance Stevenson was such a big part of that offense, and now he is in Charlotte just doing nothing really. So I don't see them doing it. And D Rose, he tries to play like he used to, and it's sad to watch because he just throws something up there when he takes it to the lane. And he said when he was injured, he was working on his 3-point game. Where are the 3-pointers? So I don't know. What do you think?
it's almost like you kind of have to rely on your 3-point shot because let's be real, D Rose has dealt with many knee injuries.
Yeah.
He's
Just a few.
He's not just a few, just a couple, and both knees actually. So, I mean, D Rose, he's got to develop that jump shot, and for the Bulls, you got to continue to have a backup point guard that comes in with with electricity. We saw that a couple years ago with Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson actually gave the Miami Heat a pretty decent look in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So, and PG-13, it's kind of too late at this point. PG-13, I understand Roy Hibbert's there, and you still got David West, but it's just the Pacers aren't. It's the chemistry isn't there right now, and the fact is that if they were to somehow hit that chemistry come playoff time and get back to the 2012, 2013 Pacers, it should be an interesting
team that was
playoff.
up 3-2 on Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Exactly, and they couldn't get it done. So, anyways, one thing that is so great about this time of year are the teams that are trying to snag a few late season wins to sneak into playoffs. In the Western Conference, we have the OKC Thunder and the Pelicans sitting at 44 and 37, with the Pelicans owning the tiebreaker. The Pelicans play the Spurs for the final game of the season Wednesday night. If there was an NBA team you would rather see in the playoffs, Jake, who would you choose?
I feel like if the Pelicans were in the playoffs, it just wouldn't be that exciting. They don't have any experience. They have Anthony Davis. Of course, he's a stud. But the Warriors would just walk all over them. And I think OKC would give them a pretty good run for their money. I don't think they're going to beat them in a 7-game series, but Russell Westbrook, that's something to deal with in a series. But also what would be cool is if the Pelicans had a We Believe type year to the Warriors and karma came back around maybe.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
I mean, you got to kind of have to root for the Pelicans, because number one, Russell Westbrook, he's without Kevin Durant. So I really don't see a team like OKC beating, a team like the Warriors.
Yeah.
Simply because I understand, Russell Westbrook's going to shoot up, what was it, 43
shots.
43 shots. But Steph Curry can probably put up about 18 shots a game and still get the same amount of points as Russell Westbrook.
Very true.
But I feel like a team like the Pelicans actually could have a good shot at beating the Warriors simply because they have Anthony Davis.
In a series, though?
In a series. Because what's going to come down to is the post presence. Anthony Davis he's a man right now.
But Bogut's defense around the rim,
But you also got to stick with Anthony Davis. His athleticism. It seems like it's going to tire down that front court, and I really don't see New Orleans coming out and beating Golden State. I don't see Golden State really beating a team like New Orleans that easy. I feel like if it were to come down, I think I would have Golden State probably going to 7 with the New Orleans Pelicans because
7?
Simply because just the way they're playing with the backcourt, and then like I said, Anthony Davis is playing like a freak right now.
Yeah,
but he's battling some injuries right now, so we should see.
Only at 21 too.
Exactly. All right, well, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're doing hashtags, and then we'll close out the show with a few more segments. Don't change the channel because you are watching UATV on Channel 3 Sports.
I'm Derek Williams, the former U of A Wildcat. You're watching UATV. Don't change the channel.
Anything for free, I keep my enemies closer than my mirror ever gets to me. And if you think that there is shelter in this attitude, where do you feel the warmth of my gratitude? I get the feeling that it's 2 against 1. I'm already fighting me, so what's another one?
Welcome back to UATV Channel 3 Sports. We talked some NBA basketball playoffs, so now it's time for hashtags. Jake and I will say something, and then we'll give you our hashtag. All right, Jake, last week we talked about Arizona basketball recruit Ivan Rabb and how he was still deciding. The Bay Area 5-star product has reportedly selected Cal over the Wildcats. It was believed that Arizona was a lone team to get Rabb. However, Quanzo Martin made a late push to keep Rabb at home. Jake, what is your hashtag?
My hashtag is 4 years because that's how long he's going to be at Cal. If he came to Arizona, he would get way more notice on the national scale. It just doesn't make any sense. Stay at home, whatever. Your home's always going to be there. It's Arizona, better program. Good luck being in the tournament.
And this Rab staying at home reminds me of Jabari Bird. You know, shooting guard a couple years ago, one of the top shooting guards coming out of the country, and then next thing you know, he skips on teams like Kansas and Kentucky and Arizona and even UCLA, and he just says, I'm going to Cal. And now look at it. You don't hear too much of Jabari Bird. But my hashtag for Mr. Rab, Ivan, hashtag WTF. Man, what are you doing? You have offers from Arizona, Kentucky, UCLA, Kansas. You have every single team in the country knocking at your doorstep, and you choose the Cal Golden Bears? I would have been more comfortable with him going to Stanford, you know, getting the education and also getting, you know, some nice playing time behind Coach Dawkins. So,
easily.
I mean, Ivan Rab, SMH, you know, and good, like you said, good luck in the tournament. Cal Golden Bears will be lucky to make the cool 32. Anyways, 21-year-old Jordan Spieth became the second youngest player to win the Masters shooting at 18 under. He would have been the youngest, but Tiger Woods was 5 months younger than Spieth when Woods won it. Jake, what's your hashtag for the young man's performance?
My hashtag for young Spieth is on the prowl because he is the next Tiger. He was setting records left and right. He made the most birdies in the tournament ever. I believe it was 28, 29. This guy's 21 years old, and then he had the record through 36 holes of the lowest score. It was 14 under. I mean, this guy, he's unbelievable. Under Armour's peaking.
Exactly.
Under Armour's on top of the world.
Nike's probably sitting there just kicking themselves right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you just got to be so impressed with Jordan Spieth, considering he was from hole one on the first round. He made all the way through.
He's the only one to do that since 1941.
Exactly. It's just, but I'll give you my hashtag. Hashtag, where my video game endorsement at? It's just, let's see. It's Jordan Spieth, you know, Tiger Woods hasn't had a video game in quite some time because, you know, all the drama going surrounding it, and it seems like exactly. It seems like EA Sports kind of dropped Tiger Woods. How awesome would it be if you get a Jordan Spieth golf game going? You know,
I played that on the Wii.
Exactly, and you know Rory.
100%.
You know Rory's chilling with Nike, and
Yeah, he's good.
EA. I mean, I understand Under Armour's a somewhat decent clothing brand, but you got to give it up for EA Sports to sign Jordan.
You know they're not even making a golfing clothing line because they're just going to go off him.
I mean, why not?
I mean, I can't
Make your
blame
moolah,
them.
Under
Yeah.
Armour. Anyways, the last hashtag is 49ers wide receiver Michael Crabtree going across the Bay Area and joining the Oakland Raiders for 1 year, $3 million with another $2 million incentives. Crabtree looked unexplosive last season after coming back from an Achilles injury he suffered in 2013. He is now teamed up with promising quarterback Derek Carr. Jake, what is your hashtag?
My hashtag is typical. What better person to sign after they got Trent Richardson? I mean, he's coming off his worst season, and I've honestly always hated Crabtree because he held out as a rookie. Like, you don't, come on, man.
He's rookie.
Like, he needs an ego check, and it's just an Oakland signing. I don't think he's going to do anything. They're still going to go after Amari Cooper in the draft to better that receiving core. They should have gone after someone like Torrey Smith even. Like, I don't know.
I mean, but
Crabtree.
But what would happen? I mean, it would be awesome to see if Crabtree were to come back and you see Derek Carr perform well. They get Amari Cooper, maybe some magic going on in Oakland.
Yeah.
But I kind of have to agree with you. And my hashtag is hashtag crabweed. Going to the Oakland Raiders, probably smoke up some dope. I mean, why not? He's Michael Crabtree.
There's nothing to play for. Might as well.
That's where all the players go to die in their careers. I mean, Oakland Raiders, Al Davis is rolling his grave right now after this signing. So, anyways, all right. Well, that will do it this week for C3S. Check out this episode on YouTube and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For Jake Cavanah, I'm Justin Spurs saying happy NBA playoffs and thank you for tuning in to UATV Channel 3 Sports. You really like Madonna?
I'd hook up with Madonna. You're saying if Madonna grabbed you by the head and tried to make out with you, like you'd be like,
yes, it's Madonna.
Exactly.
Anyways, join us next week. Thank you guys for tuning in.
I would.